Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody who has joined us here on the program this morning. Folks, we hate to be a bearer of bad news, but we've had a major earthquake in the Philippines. This was a 7.6 magnitude earthquake. There are now 68 aftershocks, a total of 68 aftershocks, and this is counting. This is going to continue to move as we go forward. This earthquake hit just after 9:30 this morning, Eastern Time. It is now 12:55 p.m. in the Philippines. 12:55 p.m. in the Philippines. This struck late on Saturday night, triggering evacuation orders for some areas of the country and for southwest Japanese coast because of possible tsunami warnings. The tsunami warnings were issued, but later they were taken down. I'll get to that in just a minute. The tsunami waves could have been up to 3 feet high or more, but again, that tsunami warning has been canceled. The Philippine Seismology Agency said the waves could hit Philippines by midnight tonight and continue for hours. But again, that tsunami warning has been canceled. The U.S. tsunami warning said there could be waves up to 9 feet. But again, that has been canceled. The threat for tsunami warning has passed. Now, I want to go over here and show you more information in just a second. Boats already at sea during this period should stay offshore in deeper waters until further advised. The two provinces are largely rural and not densely populated, unlike other parts of the Philippines. Japanese broadcaster NHK said that they had been prepared. The warning went out, the people left and went to higher ground, but again, the tsunami warning has been canceled. This is a tsunami warning, and I'll go over it with you right now. This was message number 3. Okay? This was a final message. This message is issued for information only in support of the UNESCO IOC Pacific Tsunami Message Warning Mitigation System, and it's meant for national authorities in each country of that system. National authorities will determine the appropriate level of alert for each country, and they may issue additional or more refined information. The tsunami forecast is unchanged in this message. Magnitude 7.6 earthquake. Magnitude 7.6 earthquake. That's a major earthquake. Mindanao, Philippines. An earthquake with a preliminary magnitude of 7.6 occurred in Mindanao, Philippines at 14:37 UTC on Saturday, December 2nd, 2023. That's midnight. Based on all available data, the tsunami threat from this earthquake has passed. There has been no tsunami. There is no longer a tsunami threat from this earthquake. Okay? Now, I want to show you something else here. This is the National Tsunami Buoy Center. The National Tsunami Buoy Center. There are buoys in active mode right now. There's 4 of them, going all the way over to Japan and over to Taiwan and south over into Indonesia and over on the east side of the Philippines. The buoys are in active duty mode. Okay? I'm going to try now to show you what one of the buoys has here, the information. Okay? You see the water column height here. there was water moving. There was definitely water moving. Let me show you another one to the south here. This is Indonesia. The same thing here. Water moved. Okay? Let's go over to the towards Taiwan now. Look at this. Water moved here as well. So we can safely say that what is going on did happen. There's no tsunami warning threat at all, no. Okay? The water did move. The plate moved. The entire plate moved. And it's not just one plate. Okay? There's 7 plates in this area. Let's go over to the USGS map here. There are 7 different plates in play here. I want to make sure everybody is aware of what's going on here. Down here in the southwestern Pacific, there are 7 different tectonic plates in play. Each plate, one is subducting under the other here in this area. Each plate is moving. Over here in Mindanao, Philippines, we've had earthquakes here before. A lot of earthquakes here before. Folks, this was the one that hit here, just barely off the coast. We are going to find damage here. There are going to be reports of damage, possible injury, or worse. We don't have any idea or messages of injuries or fatalities or damage at this point in time. As we go forward today, we will probably be coming back on the air later this afternoon. But folks, there's already been at least 68 or 69 aftershocks, measuring from magnitude 6.4 down to 5.0. Raymark Gentleman, who is the local police chief of the coastal town of Hinatuan near the earthquake's epicenter, which has a population of 44,000, said the power had been knocked out since the quake struck. Disaster response teams have not yet monitored any casualties or damage. He said that they were evacuating people from the coastal areas. Photographs that I do not have right now, but I will get. Photographs posted to social media by the local administration showed scores of residents and queues of vehicles moving towards higher ground with a large shelter occupied by several dozen people. Again, and we've talked about this for the last 4.5 years, earthquakes are common here in the Philippines. The Philippines lies on the western side of the Ring of Fire. The Ring of Fire is a belt of volcanoes circling the Pacific Ocean. These whole areas, folks, let me back this out. These areas of the Pacific Ocean here are what they call the Ring of Fire. The Ring of Fire stretches down here to the Antarctic Ridge that you see identified down here to the south by that red earthquake line that you see here. That is the southernmost part of the Ring of Fire. The Ring of Fire also stretches over here to the coastal regions of South America, Central America, the western United States and Canada, which is the North American plate, all the way up here to Alaska and the Aleutian Island Fault Zone, up here to Kamchatka Peninsula in Russia, down here through the Kuril Islands and Japan, and south over here to Taiwan. Right here. This earthquake here over in Taiwan happened last night. Okay, this is a 4.3 near Hualien City, Taiwan, the capital of Taiwan, just off the coast. Okay, a 4.3 moderate earthquake. This is 17 miles deep. Okay, this is the western side of the Ring of Fire. The Ring of Fire also stretches down over here into Vietnam, Thailand, and Myanmar area, all the way over here to Sumatra. Okay, the Ring of Fire. Down here in Indonesia here, you see this other edge of the plate. This is a 5.2 near Dupage, Indonesia. This earthquake hit at 37 minutes after midnight Eastern Time. Okay? The Ring of Fire comes all the way down here, engulfing the entire Asia-Australian plate. The Indo-Australian plate down here. Okay? Now, I want to come down here to this other earthquake on the Antarctic Ridge. This is a 5.5 near Macquarie Island. Folks, this earthquake at Macquarie Island, south of Australia here, happened just prior to the Philippine earthquake. Okay, this large 5.5 near Macquarie Island down here on the Antarctic Ridge happened just about 10 minutes before the Philippine quake. Okay, this also signifies a lot of good information. Okay, this shows you that the entire plate was moving. All of the tectonic plates here are moving. Now, we've also talked in the past few days, for the last week, we've had an enormous amount of sunspots that have erupted over on the sun. 3 of those sunspots have launched CMEs at the Earth and the other planets in the solar system. This CME power, we're talking about waves of plasma energy that left the sun. This plasma energy reacted with the Earth's magnetosphere. The magnetosphere has been weak because we were also in a solar minimum. Now we have climbed out of that solar minimum into a solar maximum. In the past year since the solar minimum ended, okay, that was cycle 24. It ended at the beginning of this year. Cycle 25 started. We're in the beginning of cycle 25, a solar maximum, meaning we're going to get more and more and more sunspots and more CMEs. This is going to continue for at least 5 more years, and then the cycle will wane out. It will get less and less over time. A typical solar cycle lasts 11 years. So after the next 5 years is over, then the cycle will wane out with less and less sunspots, less and less solar activity. But for now, the CME activity will increase. And with that CME increase, we're going to see more and more earthquakes. We've explained this phenomenon many times in the past. Okay? The plasma energy leaves the sun. When it leaves the sun, ladies and gentlemen, that plasma energy comes down and contacts every planet in its path. Mark Wages did a wonderful job explaining this whole phenomenon when he was on the air yesterday. I urge you all to go over to his show showing you exactly what happened. That plasma energy left the sun. Okay? Just like this. It left the sun like this. It hit the Earth and the other planets just like this. Okay? It hit the Earth. The plasma energy was absorbed by the Earth, but it went around the Earth as well. The magnetosphere helps protect the Earth. But as that plasma radiation went out and around the Earth, it went out like this. It went out like this. It went around and out past the Earth. Folks, this energy hit in the Pacific Ocean region, but it has affected every part of the Earth. Now, as I have spoken about this, okay, this entire region is susceptible to earthquakes because of where the energy first hit. It hit in the Ring of Fire area, in the southern Ring of Fire area. So we are going to see more earthquakes. We are going to see more earthquakes. We warned everyone about that early on by the middle of the week. We are going to see more and more earthquakes. Unfortunately, today, Mindanao, Philippines got hit with at least a 7.6 earthquake. Now, we do have some preliminary estimates of what that entails. Okay? We haven't left you guys hanging yet. We're not going to. That just is not going to happen. With this increase in energy, we are going to have more earthquakes. I fully expect to have more earthquakes even today. Not just down on the Antarctic ridge, but literally everywhere. Everyone needs to be aware of this. Everyone needs to be aware of this. Okay? I'm not speaking only to a small group of people. I want to speak to the entire world. Everyone needs to know what's going on. What I fear is that some people will say, oh, it's not going to happen to me. So wrong. So wrong. We have seen this happen before. It's not ever pleasant. It's not ever pleasant. Folks, it's never pleasant. It never will be. This was a major event. And I'm not going to try to poo-poo it. This was a major event. And I have a feeling that there are going to be a lot more earthquakes even today. I'm not here to paint a pretty picture. That's not my intention at all. Every time I've done one of these notifications, it's almost painful to talk about, because I know there's going to be major damage, there's going to be injuries and possible fatalities. That's why I'm making this plea to everyone. You need to stand by. You need to stand by. I don't think this is over by a long shot. Does anybody have any questions? Hurricane Heather says it had to be bigger than a 7.7. Earthquakes are going into 6.3. I agree. We've already had 6.4 aftershocks. We all know, or we should know, let's put it that way. We should know that this agency downgrades these earthquakes. This has been going on for a very long time. I have been warning everybody about this for a very long time. This could have been upwards of an 8.0 major quake. And I'm not throwing you guys a bone here. It came out as a 7.6 because of what we know from these agencies and the lies and distrust that they've had. This could be very dangerous. I'm just telling you. I want to show you some helioplots from literally around the world. Let me show you this now. This is Barbados. Okay, let me enlarge this so you can see it clearly. This is in Barbados, north of Venezuela. Okay, this is what it looks like. The only problem that I'm having by not upping the ante on this earthquake to at least an 8.0 or larger is this did not black out the entire graph. If it was 8.0 or larger, it would have blacked this whole thing out. It nearly did. It nearly did. And the earth is still moving in the Philippines. We're still seeing aftershocks, and we are going to see aftershocks for days. I have a feeling we're going to see aftershocks for 3 or 4 days. USGS may not show them all. They never do. But the ground is moving out there. This is Barbados, all the way over north of Venezuela. Let's look at New Mexico next. Albuquerque, New Mexico. This is even further away. Again, the graph was not blacked out. But you see the tremendous energy. Each of these lines that you see here are a primary wave. You can see this area that's gray and black here. The primary waves were strong. They were back to back to back to back. The earth shook for a long period of time. A long period of time. Each of these horizontal lines here represent a 1 hour time period. A 1 hour period of time. So you can see how long this shaking lasted. 15 minutes of time at one point. 15 or 20 minutes of time at one point. At another, 10 minutes, 5, 8 minutes, or longer. Okay, this is what we're talking about. How would you like to be in an earthquake like this, where the ground shook for 20 minutes or longer? That's what we're seeing here. Okay? Let's go over to Alaska, even further north. 3/4 of the Earth away. Look what we're seeing here. The same thing. Shaking lasting a half hour or longer. Now let's go to a half a world away. Let's go over to Kivo, Finland. We're seeing the same thing here. Okay? Miss Cookie's asking, is there a tsunami with this quake? No, there isn't. Right after the earthquake happened, as I spoke a few minutes ago, right after it happened, they issued a tsunami warning for the Philippines of a 9-foot wave. That did not occur. They issued a tsunami warning for the entire Pacific. That also did not occur. There is no tsunami threat now at all. You can go back to the early part of my program here this morning where I explain it, and I also show that the threat has been canceled. The tsunami warning advisory threat has been canceled. There is no warning now. This is Kivo, Finland, a half a world away. Again, this 7.6, 8.0 earthquake is a major quake. The ground is still shaking in the Philippines. As we get more information, we will pass it on to you. But right now, this is our report. A major 7.6, 8.0 earthquake happened at 9:32 a.m. Eastern Time, 12:32 p.m. Philippine time. People were asked to hurriedly go to higher ground because of the threat of a tsunami. There is no tsunami warning at present. There won't be any tsunami warning issued from this quake right now. If things increase, and there's always a possibility of an increase. Every earthquake has a 25% chance of being a foreshock. Every earthquake here has the potential of being a foreshock. The main earthquake here hit here near the shoreline of Mindanao, Philippines. People live in this area, as you can see. They live all over this area. This area is not as well populated as other islands in the Philippines. But this earthquake was close to some of these areas. That is the only good thing happening from this earthquake. This area is not densely populated. But, as you can see, it's close enough to the land. And there was shaking on the land. Most definitely, with this size of an earthquake, there had to be shaking, and people were notified of what was going on. People are not dumb. The Philippines, for the most part, is not a third world country. Yes, there are people that are not as well advantaged as you and I here in the United States or England or Australia or other parts of the world. These people are pretty well advanced here in the Philippines. They're not dumb, they're not stupid at all. They have great intelligence. Great intelligence. Now I want to show you something. I'm going to move this slide over so you can see the number of earthquakes right here. 275 earthquakes. When I started this broadcast, it was 69 earthquakes. Now there are 275 earthquakes. Aftershocks. Aftershocks and the main shock. This earthquake was also 20 miles deep in this region. 20 miles deep. Do we have any other questions here? I appreciate our moderators being here. Canadian Patriot, Heather, Demon Cat. We appreciate you all here. Okay? Demon Cat says, please help with the analytics and give us a thumbs up. Absolutely. Thank you very much for that. We already got 56 thumbs up or likes. We appreciate that. 57 now. Before you leave today, if you enjoyed the information that we've given you, if you have any other information, please let us know. Enlightened Truth Seeker is asking what the antipode to this quake is. I will give you that information in just a second here. Let me pull it up. I've been so busy with other things here, I did not have a chance to look up the antipode of this quake. Things happen, okay? It happens all the time. Let me go back here to the main shock here. Oh gosh, what was it? Okay. There are so many earthquakes still hitting here, it's not funny. About every minute to 2 minutes, there's a new quake. It's no joke. I'm seeing multiple quakes hitting all over the place. Okay? Now they have downgraded this to a 7.5. Please, folks, don't even acknowledge that. Don't acknowledge the fact that they have downgraded this thing. I still say, and I'll stick by this, at least until USGS gets their act back together. I'm going to say this, and I will say this till I'm blue in the face. The United States Geological Survey has their pants over their head, and they can't see out of the pockets. They literally cannot see out of their pockets. It's a sad day to say that. It's a very sad day to say that. But I'm serious when I say that. Now, I want to show you this. Okay? Watch your screen here. The antipode is over in Brazil. Why did it do that? The antipode, it appears, is over in Brazil. Right here. See where that red mark is in Brazil here? That's the antipode of this quake. Now, some of you may not know what an antipode is. This is a scientific term. The antipode is where the energy from this quake comes from down deep in the earth, and it goes around to another part of the earth, meaning its connection on the other side of the earth. In this case, the earthquake hit over in the Philippines. The antipode is on the other side in Brazil, which means we may see energy overhitting in Brazil. So far, we have not seen that with any of the earthquakes that we have monitored over the last 4.5 years. Okay, all that means is there is a possibility of the same size energy, or even possibly less, hitting on another part of the earth. In this case, Brazil. We're going to monitor this for a while. And like I said, if things happen, and they most assuredly will, we'll be coming back on the air later today and give you updated information. Right now, there are 276 aftershocks from this quake. The agency will not tell you the truth. They never do. They never post all of the earthquake aftershocks, ever. One of the questions that was asked after the 7.1 8.0 earthquake at Ridgecrest, California in 2019. One of the questions that was asked was, why does the agency not post all the earthquakes on the map? Miss Lucy Jones, who at the time was working for Caltech, she gave the reporter an answer that there's not enough room on the map. Look at this map here. There is plenty of room on the map to show the aftershocks. It is the agency that makes a decision not to do it. It's the agencies that make the decisions not to do it. In the situation with the Ridgecrest quake, there were over 5,000 aftershocks. 5,000 aftershocks, as well as hundreds of foreshocks. We just did not know where. We knew this kind of an earthquake was going to happen, but we did not know where. Why? Why is that possible? Again, the sunspot erupted into a CME. 3 CMEs hit the Earth. The plasma energy hit the Earth, hit the surface of the Earth, and went down deep into the core. That plasma energy heated up the plates. The plasma energy heated up the plates. All the gunk, all the grime, all the dirt, the rocks, and biological material that holds those plates in place turns into an oily or greasy substance. And in doing so, it helps those plates to move more freely. And that's exactly what happened here. The plates are moving more freely all around the Earth. Okay? Charles Helm is saying freezing up on YouTube. Not surprising. Okay? I have great bandwidth here. 2,800, 25, 2,600 megabytes per second. It is YouTube. Okay? It was YouTube. Sandra Chapman's here in the chat saying the Philippines quake was a lot larger than a 7.7. The heliplot was almost blacked out. No, it was not. No, it was not almost blacked out. Only one heliplot was blacked out, and that was in Thailand. Thailand. And what you also need to know is that the United States Geological Survey that puts out those helioplots has at least one of those helioplots blacked out almost all the time. Today it's in Thailand. It has been in Venezuela. It has been over in Central America before. Sometimes we've seen helioplots all the way over into Europe completely blacked out. It has nothing to do with seismic energy. It has everything to do with the agency. Only one of them was completely blacked out. Okay? Only one of them was completely blacked out. Let me show you this helioplot again. This is Kivo, Finland. This is on the other side of the world. It was not completely blacked out. You can see the background paper here. Now this is all digital. It's all digital, but you can see what we're talking about. It was not completely blacked out. Yes, this is a powerful quake. Yes, it's probably an 8.0 minimum. And as we go forward over the next 12 hours or longer, we'll be better able to assess how strong this quake is. I'm not saying it's 9.0. On a 9.0, nearly the whole heliplot or the graph will be blacked out. Almost all of it. That's not the case this time. Yes, we're showing a lot of activity, but it's nowhere close to being blacked out. Okay? Does anybody have any questions? Jeanette says, I would not travel if they paid me. I would agree with that. Why? Because, folks, that plasma energy, let me take this thing down so I can have everybody's attention on the video. When that plasma energy hits the Earth like this, it literally engulfs, not completely engulfs the Earth, but it goes around the Earth like this, and it spreads out. The plasma energy spreads out. The thing that everybody needs to know, including travelers, is that plasma energy is still in the atmosphere. It's going to be in the atmosphere for a long time going forward, possibly days. And that plasma energy is radiation. If you're up in the upper parts of the atmosphere, in a plane, for example, well, that'd have to be the case, because otherwise you would not be up there. You're in a plane. Even though the plane is metal or composite, it's not protecting you at any stretch of the imagination. If anyone is in a plane right now, anybody on that plane is absorbing radiation from that CME. Our bodies are 88% water. 88% water. Our bodies are going to absorb that radiation. If we're out and about, we're going to be absorbing more radiation. If you're in a car and out and about, you're still going to absorb some radiation, but you're at least on the surface of the Earth, not 35,000 feet higher, where the atmosphere is less protective of you. If you're in a building, that's ideal, because the building is more able to protect you than being outside yourself. Okay? I would not want to be in a plane at all. Now, as I explained last night, and I believe the night before, this plasma radiation has caused radio blackouts, most of them around the southern Pacific. Radio blackouts in terms of airplanes being able to talk to air traffic control. NASA in Russia, NASA in the United States in Houston, Texas, where they're helping control the space station, and Roscosmos in Moscow, or outside of Moscow, also communicating with the space station. Radio blackouts with the space station. There are areas of the space station where astronauts can go to be protected from the plasma radiation. And NASA and Roscosmos advises the astronauts when one of these flares launches off. So they all have time to pile into that area of the space station to be protected. Other things, ham radio communications has been blacked out in the South Pacific the other day. Not quite so right now, but areas of the Earth, all around the Earth, there's still crackling going on. Crackling going on. Let me turn up Okay, this is the Weather Service here.
Eastern Standard Time. These are the 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time observations for Western North Carolina on Saturday, December 2nd.
Okay.
At the Hickory Airport, fog was reported, reducing the visibility to less than 1.
Okay, that's the Weather Service. Right now you don't hear any crackling going on with their communication. However, on other frequencies, you can hear the crackling going on in the background. That is a solar flare penetrating the atmosphere. It interferes with radio communications. Let me turn on my ham radio here.
Channel mode.
And if someone starts talking here, you're going to hear the communications, and you may hear crackling going on in the background. That is the solar radiation, the plasma radiation affecting communications. Ham radio, police, fire, and medical personnel trying to communicate are going to see blackouts or areas where they're going to have a lot of crackling going on, or they won't be able to communicate at all for some time period. It won't last a long time, but it will last at least a short time period. Does anybody have any questions? I want to make sure that I've got all your questions before we sign out of here. Canadian Patriot 1 says, if you glow in the dark, you've been exposed to way too much plasma radiation. Yeah, pretty much. I just don't think that's going to happen. Yes, there is a possibility that it could. Okay? Canadian Patriot says he's seen 6 inches of snow there currently. We don't have any snow here, but we've had plenty of rain. And it's going to continue rain till at least through tomorrow. S. North says my phone has been blanking out a few seconds when changing applications. It does that. Okay? When I was preparing for this program, I want to say I was preparing for at least an hour. I was trying to pull up information. I was trying to make sure that I can communicate with you on this particular application that I have here, my broadcasting software. It had issues itself. I went on the air and I wanted to make sure that there were no blackouts or time periods. I still have 2,600 megabytes per second here. I have got great communication here with my software, and I'm grateful for it. I'm also grateful for my Wi-Fi. Okay? I pay through the nose for my Wi-Fi, so I'm able to communicate with all of you. Okay? I appreciate all of your help also in doing that. You guys help me with super chats. You help me by sending donations to our PayPal and our Venmo locations, which, by the way, are just now beneath this video you're seeing today in the top of the program description. Okay? Our Venmo and PayPal locations are there. Also, here on our Emergency Management Associates banner here, you guys send letters and cards to us and insert donations in the middle of the letter or the middle of the card. We're greatly appreciative of that. Our P.O. Box is 422, Valdese, North Carolina. Valdese, Valdese, North Carolina. The zip code is 28655. We appreciate all of your donations. We appreciate seeing letters and cards letting us know how you're doing. That all means a great deal. Okay? Canadian Patriot One says ham radios were down for a bit. Yes, they were. Yes, they absolutely were. Does anyone else have any questions here? I don't want to leave here without making sure all of your questions have been answered. My dear friend Laura Marie from Oregon is here. She said, surprise broadcast. Hello from Oregon, USA, Ron, Mods, and EMA friends. Yes, when something happens here, a major event happens anywhere around the world that can cost people's lives, we come on the air. Miss Cookie says 28690. That's what our zip code is here. 28690. Okay? My brother Rob is also here. Thank you for being here, Rob. We appreciate it. Rob and I are very, very close friends. We talk a lot. A lot. It's great. Laura says maybe that's what explains what happened to her iPhone yesterday. Unusual things happen. Never before. She said she lost all but one of her top 6 favorite contacts. That happens to me at least once a week. I have a feeling it's my carrier, but it's happened on all my carriers that I've had in the past. Any questions, guys? I know this was a major event down in the Philippines. It's been worse. It's been a lot worse in the Philippines. They got off really lucky because this is off the northeast shore of Mindanao, Philippines. They got off very lucky. Now, in fact, let me show you something. Take down the banner again. In the past, we've had these 7.4, 7.6 magnitude earthquakes hit down here in Davao, Philippines, Davao, Philippines. This area here is very densely populated. This is a huge city in the southern Philippines, Mindanao, Philippines. We've had 7.4, 7.6 earthquakes hit here. 6.4, 6.5, 6.7s hit here. It's had major damage here. 3 years ago, a 6.7 hit here. It took down schools, it took down buildings. They have skyscrapers here in Davao City. Apartment buildings with swimming pools on the roof of the building. And they had swimming pools being emptied from the top of the building. Water cascading down the sides of the building. That's how bad the shaking got. And that was only with a 6.5, 6.7. They have had 7.4 earthquakes hit here. So the Philippines dodged a bullet with this quake today. While it was offshore, it was close enough to shake things up here. And it hit a rather unpopulated area. Not totally populated, it was very sparsely populated here. That's where they dodged the bullet here. Hurricane Heather says aftershocks still coming in. Over 269 aftershocks so far. Now it's showing 276 earthquakes. Aftershocks. 276 aftershocks here. That's big time. Any questions? Enlightened Truth Seeker says, thank you, Ron, for answering my questions about the antipode and for all of your hard work and dedication to give us all the information we need to stay informed. Thank you for that. Please pass that information on to your friends, your relatives, your neighbors, everybody that you know. Even the people you associate with here on social media. Tell the people you work with about our channel and how we come on the air to let everybody know what's happening when there's a major event. We do that because I fear that there will be people killed. Notice here in Indonesia, USGS is not showing hardly any earthquakes. There's about 24 earthquakes here in Indonesia alone. Okay? We're lucky they showed this earthquake down here at the Antarctic Ridge south of Australia. This is a 5.5 large earthquake. Very large earthquake. Just for kicks and giggles. Let's go over here to the southern Cascadia subduction zone region. Over here on the Gorda Escarpment, the southern part of the Cascadia subduction zone region. This is a small 3.3 earthquake that's hit here, right next to shore. Actually on land, I'm sorry, this is on land. This is a 1.5 tremor, 9 miles southeast of Petrolia, California. Just a 1.5. Okay, so there are still earthquakes hitting around the globe. Let's take a look at Hawaii. We haven't talked about Hawaii as of late. I don't think we talked about Hawaii at all during this week. Okay, down in the far depths of the South Pacific, there is a huge magma plume from deep inside the earth. That magma plume comes up and sends magma to all the volcanoes around the world. The control point for the magma here at the Big Island is here at Pahala, Hawaii, on the Big Island. You can see earthquakes here. This is where the magma from the deep plume comes here in Hawaii. And here in Pahala, they have distribution points to all the volcanoes around the island. All of the earthquakes here are indicative of magma beneath the surface. That's why we have earthquakes here in Pahala. This is a 2.0 here. Offshore here is a 2.2. Magma down in the crust causing earthquakes as it moves, shattering rock inside the magma chambers, the magma corridors. Over here you see a red spot that I just highlighted blue. This is also an earthquake, a 1.8 tremor here. This is in Pahala. You notice earthquakes offshore here. Okay, this is also a 2.4 earthquake offshore from Pahala. This is a 1.8. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that the locations of these two earthquakes here are an undersea earthquake, or an undersea volcano under what they call a seamount, an undersea volcano here. The volcano's name is called Loihi. Loihi. Okay, so we have a 1.8 and a 2. What was it? 2.5? Yes, 2.5 here. Going north, the magma is traveling under the crust here in Pahala. Okay, we have a small cache of quakes here. That's a 1.6, 1.6, 0.9 microquake, and a 1.8 tremor. The magma is running to the volcanoes, traveling to the volcanoes. Let's go further north up here to Kilauea. Look at the swarm of earthquakes just outside Kilauea. About 30 earthquakes here around Kilauea. Okay? That's a 1.7. This is a 1.7. This is a 2.5. The magma is headed to Kilauea from Pahala. Now we have 3 earthquakes over here to the east. This is a 0.8 microquake. This is a 1.9 2.0 earthquake. This is a 1.7 tremor here. Folks, this is another volcano called Pu'u'o'o. Pu'u'o'o. This volcano and Kilauea had fresh hot lava at the top or near the top of the volcanoes back in 2019. That was until all the lava drained out. And for about a week, scientists were wondering where the magma went. They were wondering where it went. Within a few days, all of a sudden, they saw fissures in the earth opening up. Some of those fissures in the earth opened up here in Fern Forest. This is a 2.0 earthquake here in Fern Forest. See all this gray area? This used to be vegetation. When the fissures opened up here on the Big Island, a lot of lava poured out of them. And the lava left the fissures and went to the ocean here. This is a very graphic demonstration of how the lava went to the ocean. And guess what? There is new acreage on the Big Island as a result of that eruption from the fissures. A total of 24 fissures opened up here in Fern Forest and also out here in Leilani Estates. Now this is a very old picture of the Big Island. These white splotches you see are magma plumes or lava plumes from the erupting fissures. Lava plumes from the eruptive fissures. Now you see a lot of plumes all over because lava poured out of the fissures all over the landscape. And we had lava plumes all over the landscape putting out toxic SO2 and CO2 emissions. That's what you're seeing here. And like you can see here in Leilani Estates, the lava made its way to the shoreline and added additional acreage onto the shoreline here on the Big Island. Okay? Most of the earthquakes here are either at Pahala Kilauea, and one earthquake over here on the eastern side, southeastern side of Mauna Loa. This is a 2.0 earthquake on the southeastern side, the flank, the hillside from Mauna Loa. A 2.0 earthquake at Mauna Loa. Up here, USGS rarely shows us earthquakes here at Mauna Kea. This is another volcano on the Big Island, north of Mauna Loa. Here we have a 2.8 earthquake here at Mauna Kea. Usually, when we show seismograms from the Big Island, from the volcanoes, there are a lot more earthquakes here at Mauna Kea than there are down here south of at Mauna Loa. That just happens. It's well known. USGS will almost never show Mauna Kea as they're doing today. I can guarantee you that there's more than 2 earthquakes at either Mauna Kea or Mauna Loa. There's probably several dozen earthquakes at both of those volcanoes. Then over here to the west, there is another volcano here. This is called Hualalai volcano. They almost never ever show any earthquakes over here. But if you go over to the USGS Hawaii volcano site, you will see seismograms, and even Hualalai has some tremors and sometimes 2.0 or larger earthquakes. Okay? So folks, we have 4 volcanoes on the Big Island. Okay? 3 of those volcanoes are showing activity today. Just so you know. There's other volcanoes literally around the world, and 47 of those are showing activity right now. You can go over to Volcano Discovery and find all the information there. There's a ton of information there. Canadian Patriot 1, my buddy Dave, says he sent me a 3-hour documentary of tsunamis and earthquakes in my messenger. Thank you very much, Dave. I appreciate that. Any other earthquakes? Any other comments or questions? Laura Marie says her grandchildren go to high school in Pahala on the Big Island. They sometimes feel those earthquakes during school. I bet they do. I appreciate that, Laura. Thank you for sharing that. Any other comments here before we close this out? I know we've talked about a lot today. We didn't even come near talking about some of these other earthquakes. Over here in Papua New Guinea, let's just briefly touch on that. Papua New Guinea, we had a 5.1 earthquake. That was last night, just after 10 o'clock. Actually, almost 11 o'clock, 10:51 p.m. Eastern Time. Okay? Over here in the Mariana Islands, this is a 5.1 earthquake. This 5.1 earthquake happened just after 6 o'clock this morning. Just after 6 o'clock this morning. So there are other large earthquakes around the globe. Don't ever be dissuaded that there's not. Okay, there are. Over here in Dompit, Indonesia, I talked about this. This is a 5.2 earthquake. This happened at 37 minutes after midnight last night. This earthquake here, okay? This is over on the island of Sumatra in Indonesia here. This is on the shoreline, a 4.7 earthquake. Now folks, the interesting thing is here. This is 70 miles beneath the surface. A relatively shallow earthquake here in Sumatra, Indonesia. Now, after hours, when we were on the air last night, okay, even before 9 p.m. Eastern Time, I think it was closer to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. This earthquake hit over here in Bangladesh. It first came out here in the Bay of Bengal. It was not in the Bay of Bengal unless they moved the earthquake, and yes, they have done that. USGS has also lied about the location of earthquakes. They always lie about the location of earthquakes, a lot. This earthquake came out as the Bay of Bengal last night. Now they have it over in Ramgai, Bangladesh. A 5.5 very large earthquake over here. And notice where it's at. See that earthquake fault? The edge of the plate here. The edge of the plate. Just to the west of the plate. And further north we have the Himalaya Mountains. They almost never tell us about earthquakes there. There are earthquakes here in the Himalayas. The edge of the plate. The edge of the plate. Look over here in the Middle East. Earthquakes all over the place, and they're not saying. Earthquakes all over Europe, they're not saying a word. What's wrong with that picture? We know there's earthquakes over here in Iceland because we have a volcano that's getting ready to erupt over here. And yet they're not telling us about that. Why not? Why not? Okay? Inquiring minds want to know, including mine. My mind. Over here we have another earthquake that wasn't here last night. Here in the eastern United States. This is in Tennessee. This was a minor earthquake 4 miles east-northeast of Ninta, Tennessee. N-I-N-T-A, Tennessee. Or Neota, Tennessee. A 2.2 minor earthquake here. And as you can see, we have more earthquakes in Texas still. We have earthquakes all over Southern California, especially down here in the Imperial Valley and north into northeast San Diego County. Okay? Like we said last night, there was a large earthquake over here in Ocotillo, California. This is about 20 miles west of Westmoreland, about 23 miles west from El Centro Naval Air Station right here. I'm sorry, that's not El Centro Naval Air Station. My bad. My bad. El Centro, where'd you go? Anyway, it's about 26 miles west of Naval Air Station El Centro. Anyway, guys, that was a large earthquake down in the Imperial Valley yesterday afternoon. Actually, it was yesterday morning. We're still seeing an earthquake over here just west of Bombay Beach, underneath the Salton Sea. This is a 1.0 tremor underneath the Salton Sea here. 3 miles southwest, it's not southwest, it's directly west of Bombay Beach. Bombay Beach is right here. Okay? Bombay Beach is right there. This is not southwest, it's just south of Bombay Beach. Actually, just west of Bombay Beach. Okay? Anyway, there's a lot going on here. All these earthquakes over here in East San Diego County. Okay? Julian, Pine Valley area here. Pine Valley is right here. This is Julian here. This is north of Julian here. 1.7 here. This is Borrego Springs, the Anza Borrego Desert State Park. Okay? Anza Borrego Desert State Park. This is also in the Anza Borrego Desert State Park. A 1.0 tremor here. All over this area is getting hit. Aftershocks of that 5.0 earthquake. This is Villa Park, California, over near Los Angeles. a 1.3 tremor. This, I don't think, has anything to do with the 5.0 in the Imperial Valley. I talked last night about the extent of aftershocks in the Imperial Valley and what that earthquake did. Literally all over Southern California. It was felt all the way up into Los Angeles. And folks, you can't believe the agency. That earthquake was felt all the way up into LA, but the agency didn't talk about it. Go figure. Margaret Menifee says, what about the 7.7 magnitude quake in the Philippines? Margaret, that's why I came on the air today. Go back to the beginning of the program and watch the beginning of this program. I've spoken about it for the last, shall I say, hour. I've talked about this earthquake for over an hour now. Okay, 77 minutes ago I came on the air to talk about that earthquake. That earthquake was probably over at 8.0. Okay? Please go back to the beginning of the show and watch the entire program. You're going to find out a lot of information that everybody should have. Anyway, guys, I'm getting out of here. Margaret says, thanks, Ron. Amen. I'm on late. And that's not a problem. Go back and watch the beginning of the program, guys. We appreciate all of you being here. We have 110 likes, 110 thumbs up. Please, before you leave today, please give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed what we've talked about today. We have a lot of information here. A ton, literally a ton of information we shared here today. I hope and pray you've gotten something out of it. If anybody has any more information, please share it with us either on Messenger, over on messaging, over on our email. Okay, we check our emails several times a day. We appreciate everybody being here. God bless you for being here. We appreciate each and every one of you. God bless you for being here. We will talk to you tomorrow. I'll probably be on the air sometime around 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon for Come Follow Me, the Savior Said, our weekly Sunday school program called Come Follow Me, tomorrow only at 2 p.m. Sunday afternoon. Have a great day, folks. We love you very, very much. Enjoy your day. Be safe out there, whatever you do. Take care, guys. See you soon.